Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm so excited you're here because today we are completely bypassing all that confusing fitness jargon. We're skipping the marketing hype and we're just going to dive straight into the absolute unvarnished science of sustainable fat loss. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer amount of conflicting information out there about getting in shape, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down what actually works, relying on clear, undeniable facts. Just a really quick reminder before we jump into the good stuff, this content is just for general educational purposes. It's not medical, nutritional, or fitness advice. So always consult a doctor or a registered dietitian before you make any major changes to your routine. All right, let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to consider this idea. You don't have a belly fat problem, you have a habits problem wearing a belly fat costume. I love this quote because it just perfectly validates the frustration so many of us feel. We've all been there, right? Doing exhausting, endless sit-ups on the floor, chasing those quick fixes, desperately trying to target that one stubborn area, and feeling like absolutely nothing is moving the needle. The truth is, the problem isn't your body, it's the habits that are masking your progress. Let's look at exactly why all those sit-ups aren't the answer. Which brings us to this concept we've been sold for decades, one that completely falls apart the second you apply any scientific scrutiny. Spot reduction is a total myth. It is a wildly pervasive, stubborn fitness myth. The false idea here is that if you just do 1,000 sit-ups, you'll literally burn fat right off your stomach. But guys, that is simply not how human biology operates. Your body, and your body alone, gets to decide where it burns fat from. You just can't micromanage it. So, if we can't crunch our way to fat loss, what actually works? That brings us to Section 1, the foundation, fueling for satiety. This right here is the very first part of our habit stack framework, and honestly, it forms the absolute bedrock of sustainable fat loss. If you don't get this piece right, literally everything else is going to be an uphill battle. What truly matters is maintaining a modest calorie deficit for a sustainable trim rather than plummeting your body into starvation mode with extreme restriction. Starvation mode is just miserable. It's fleeting, and it completely works against building any sort of sustainable habit. So you're probably wondering, how do we maintain that modest deficit without feeling, well, miserable all the time? Enter the ultimate satiety power couple. Protein and fiber. These are your new best friends. We're talking eggs, beans, chicken, oats, and veggies. I know, they're not exactly glamorous, but they are absolutely unbeatable. Why? Because these foods are literally designed to keep you full for so much longer. They naturally trigger your fullness signals. And as a massive bonus, that protein protects your precious muscle mass while you're hanging out in that modest deficit. Let's move right along to Section 2, the engine, your metabolic engine. So now that we've laid down that solid dietary foundation, we need to shift our focus over to the physical framework. We want to build a body that works for you rather than against you. And the magic number here is 2 to 3. It might seem surprisingly small, but lifting weights just 2 to 3 times a week is arguably one of the most incredibly underrated fat loss tools in existence. You really don't need to live in the gym. 2 to 3 times a week is the absolute sweet spot to ignite that engine. The main reason lifting weights a couple of times a week is so incredibly powerful is because muscle is metabolically active. What that means is muscle tissue burns calories even when you are totally at rest. By strength training, you're literally turning your body into a 24/7 calorie-burning engine. Even when you're just sitting on the couch watching TV or sitting in traffic on your way to work, that muscle is constantly demanding energy. Let's enter Section 3, the hidden saboteurs. This covers stress, sleep, and liquids. These saboteurs are those sneaky, everyday elements that just quietly ruin your progress behind the scenes. They really prove that the best fitness advice isn't always found inside a gym. Meet cortisol. It's a stress hormone that completely spikes when you have poor sleep or chronic stress. You can kind of think of cortisol like a really bad roommate who absolutely loves hoarding fat, specifically right around your midsection. You could be eating your oats, you could be lifting your weights, but if this roommate is constantly running amok because you're stressed out and exhausted, you are going to be fighting a losing battle. So, the crucial point is, defeating that bad roommate actually starts with a calming bedtime routine. Disconnect from your screens, lower the lights around the house, and actively take time to relax and de-stress before your head even hits the pillow. Seriously, improving your sleep routine and getting your stress under control will do so much more for you than any expensive fitness supplement ever could. Better sleep means lower cortisol, which basically means a body that is actually willing to let go of that stored fat. And hey, while we're on the topic of hidden saboteurs, we absolutely have to talk about what is in your cup. There is a massive, massive difference between liquid calories and whole foods. Liquid calories just sneak right past your body's fullness signals. Unlike whole foods, which, as we learned earlier, trigger natural satiety through all that great protein and fiber, sugary drinks and alcohol simply don't register the same way in your brain. You can down hundreds of calories in a matter of minutes and somehow still feel completely hungry. Cutting back on alcohol and sugary drinks is without a doubt the easiest, most underestimated lever you can pull to dramatically accelerate your progress. Remember, that drink isn't free. Let's bring this all together in our final section, the real formula: consistency over intensity. We've covered the foundation, the engine, and the saboteurs. So here it is, the unvarnished truth of fat loss. There are no shortcuts. There are absolutely no magic teas that are going to melt fat away while you sleep, and no magic waist straps either. It is simply consistent habits. Eating your protein and fiber, lifting weights a few times a week, sleeping well, and watching those liquid calories. Just stacking those together over time. That is the one and only real formula. As we start to wrap things up, I just want to gently remind you of our disclaimer one more time. This explainer is strictly for general educational purposes, so it's not medical, nutritional, or fitness advice. Please make sure you consult a doctor or dietitian before making any big changes to your routine. And here we are at the end of the explainer. No magic teas, no crazy shortcuts, just a rock-solid foundation of scientific habits. So my question to you as we sign off today is this: which habit are you going to stack today? Will you prioritize getting a bit more protein? Or maybe you'll disconnect from your phone an hour earlier tonight. The trick is, don't try to do it all at once. Just pick one single habit to start